What is up, guys? Lord Nick here, bringing you another One Piece related video. This video, guys, we are going over our concept for how to deal with Lucci. So I made this video a lot this morning. I tried it multiple times to find the Lucci matchup. Spent about 3.5 hours. I finally found one, and then the audio got messed up when I went and rewatched the video, and it is just completely garbled at multiple points in that video. So I feel really bad about that. So I'm remaking the video. We're going to be going back through the Lucci Killer deck list. I'm going to be rebuilding it, but we're also just going to be kind of going over what my concepts for how we beat Lucci are. And based off of the deck list, how it performed, there was a lot of good, but there was a lot of bad of how I performed and how my opponent played. So honestly, it gives me at least another chance of playing into a Lucci potentially and being able to showcase it off. If we can't find a Lucci, we'll play against a black Luffy because they run a lot of the same cards. Conceptually, they are slightly different in the fact that Luffy protects his cards better, but Lucci is better at KOing a bit, is more consistent with his KO. So let's take a look at the cards that I think give us, honestly, a good headway into those decks, but also maybe are arguably ones that we don't always want to run. So these are going to be kind of tech options to a degree. So currently, Kyros is the card that is in the main deck that is one of the best cards versus them, because both of these decks generally don't run 6-cost Brook anymore. They can run Nightmare Luffy occasionally, but both of them could run the 6-cost Brook. But if they're not, then a card that is hard to KO is a very difficult card for them to deal with and is a constant threat on the board. The game that I am not showing, my opponent attempted to clear my Kyroses repeatedly. Even though he understood how their ability worked, he is obviously trying to swing into them because I would always have like stage or leader rested, and so he's trying to get the other rest so that he could just get a good KO option off onto Kyroses. So I'd only swing with one at a time to bait him into doing this, to waste his time and waste some of his attacks, kept me alive longer, and gave me the ability to start swinging with other characters, or forced him to have to use his resources to kill off Gecko Morias and the like. So card is super useful. It can get a lot of resources at our opponent, potentially bait in a lot of swings. Even if they know what it does, it is such an imposing threat when they start bricking into their hands or start running low on cards that the card itself threatens to win the game in and of itself. So we oftentimes want to try to get one or two set up because it is such an imposing threat for our opponent. The next card is Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria has helped in this matchup a ton just due to the fact that he allows us to go both tall and wide, which is something that Black hates having to deal with. Being able to do both is very difficult for us to deal with. So, in other decks where they go tall and wide, the example of this would be something like would be something similar to a Rosinante play that allows you to play Rosinante in a 5-cost, which is kind of difficult for a black deck to deal with. In our case, we have blue cards, so we can deal with it a little bit better somewhat because of Gravity Blade. But in the case of Gecko, he's annoying because he, at bare minimum, develops 3 characters. Most of the time, he could develop 4, which just makes him a very nasty card. And on top of that, he is a very powerful card in and of himself. He himself is just a big threat. Following up with all the cards that he then puts out, it becomes difficult for Lucci to make the decisions on who they're going to remove. So oftentimes in the Lucci Killer idea and concept, for if I was building it, we would be wanting to run him. Same concept goes with Jack. These are kind of both of these cards are the typical top end for Lucci's and typical top end potentially for Luffy's. And the reason for that is that these 2 cards represent 2 of the things that is very difficult for black decks to deal with, going super wide and tall, and just having a very tall character that requires a ton of resources put into them to be removed. So Jack is a problematic card that also enables the strategy of them to be able to, get rid of some of the bricks in their hand while removing the enemy's characters, or just is an imposing threat on his attack. So because of that, we utilize their own tools against them potentially. Or at least that's kind of an argument of something you could use. I personally don't, like, as much as Jack is really good for that matchup, I don't necessarily see that there is other, I don't see Jack being a have-to-have versus a lot of other matchups. Every other color's removal is not necessarily based off cost reduction, so his biggest benefit of being a cost reduction removal isn't necessarily going to get him up there. Yeah, he's 8k power, so Red's going to have a bit more of a difficult time taking care of him, but Red, when we get Shanks, actually has tools that can deal with 8k characters pretty okay. In the cases of Blue, they have Red Rock, which is a card we'll see later on this list, that just allows them to remove any character. Even Black has Stussy, though it's not necessarily always that great because it can be, thwarted by a single Sabo, and it requires you to have something else on your board to get rid of. But that being the case, he is a relatively difficult. He is an anti-black tool in black. So if the meta shifts slightly where black becomes less popular, for instance, in the case with Dofi, if there's enough Dofi popularity coming out soon, then this whole tech video might not be needed. But we're going over the tech specifically for how to deal with Lucci, so this is a card that I would technically put into that category, though it's a hesitant one if I would use it or not. In the video that I was originally recording, I did use them, but I never had a chance to play them because they just never came to my hand at the right time. Another card that we can consider, and I was considering quite heavily, was going to be Smoker. He is an anti-black tool in the fact he's actually an anti a lot of things, because a lot of cards that can KO, that can hit a 5 cost, now can't hit him because he can't be KO'd by effects. So he is very powerful in that, and on top of that, if we can reduce the cost of one of their lower cost characters to 0, we get to swing with him with double attack early, which is a big threat on my opponent's life. And oftentimes people don't want to put themselves that low that fast, especially if they've already taken 1 damage, maybe 2 damage. Then this is just a big threat over and over again. On top of that, with 1 Dawn, he is equivalent to that of a Jack. With multiple Dawn, he can just start swinging into a Jack. So if we generally put 3 to 4 Dawn on him, he's going to probably clear a Jack for us, which is the biggest thing that we kind of need. So this is a card that I've been considering. He can be brought back with both Moncherie and Rebecca. So both of that offers something pretty great. The downside is he has no counter on him, and he's not searchable unless we put Navy searchers into our deck. So there's an argument to be made there. And he is actually somewhat valuable into other decks as well, just due to the fact that he's a above statted card. He's a vanilla statted card with a really powerful effect. And then lastly, we have Red Rock. Red Rock is a 1-for-1 removal that can deal with Jacks, which is kind of what is Lucci's biggest problem for us. The issue of running too many Red Rocks, though, is that outside of the Luffy and the Lucci lists, this card is not necessarily that great of an option for us. Yes, it can help us with yellow top end. Yes, it can help us with black yellow Luffy stuff, but it's not necessarily a card that we want to be using in those matchups. When we're looking into the black yellow Luffy, we're going to be wanting to bottom deck multiple cards. Against yellow, yeah, it's nice to be able to do a 1-for-1 removal there, but in many cases, we can already answer that 1-for-1 removal or combo removal with other cards that we have, and they don't run nearly as much removal outside of a Nell. So that generally means once we get into our Kuzans and stuff like that, that's just a card they're not going to be able to deal with that gives us the ability to handle and deal with all of their stuff. So outside of the black Luffy and the starter deck 14 Luffy and Lucci, this card isn't necessary for many of our other matchups, and as Dofi comes more prevalent in the meta, we see Dofis and Reijus and a lot of other cards or decks. This card isn't necessarily the card that we want for those, because we want to be able to answer the wider board, which a lot of these decks go, opposed to just having a tech option for Jack, who is a character that is very, very difficult for us to deal with properly. So if I were to build this list, this was the list that I built earlier. I think that I would make some changes based off of what I saw and how I played, just to kind of give us a better idea. I do think that the Geckos is definitely a build option, and I think, though, instead of the Jacks, instead of the Kayas, despite the fact that I think the Kayas could be valuable, I didn't see them. I would go back to using Aramakis again, using 2 Aramakis, and then also instead of these Red Rocks, we could go back to the Gravity Blades, because in tandem with our Ice Ages, this can also answer a Jack. It is a 2-card combo. Yeah, that is problematic, but this card is also just more valuable in other matchups, so it widens that availability to us. We could go up on Geckos if we really wanted to, just to kind of fill in that slot so that we still have our grand total of 8 boss monsters. We could run 1 Kuzan if we wanted to. Don't think with these combination of cards that we technically need it. So some of the other options that we can look into is, do we want an extra Coliseum? Do we want to put in some King Kong guns? Because Kong guns can give us some options on a 10-Dawn turn, as long as they don't have a lot of blockers. It's not always promising, so we'd probably want to look into adding Geckos to the list as a full 4 Geckos here. So that would bring our total up to 10, 13, 17, 19, 21 bricks. And then we have 2 more spots, so you might be wondering, well, what are those 2 spots going to be? Are we going to go up on our Sabos? Do we go into Leos? Because that's kind of my go-to guy is Leo whenever I don't have a spot for him. We could go into Brooks here, because he's a great card to be bringing back. And honestly, I think that the option of card that we would be going into is a 2 of Leo. We could look into the Brooks because the recurring value is there, but the ability to mill through our deck even faster and consistently with the Leos just helps make sure that this strategy gets to foot pretty fast. We just have to be cautious to make sure we get a Luffy back into our hand at the right time, and we kind of set it up to go. Yes, Aramakis can be removed. Yes, that is somewhat of a bit of a problem sometimes, but if he is something that gets removed and we can follow it up with a Gecko play afterwards, we're probably going to be okay. We just have to be able to put stuff out there that allows us to keep our Olympuses alive. That's kind of the big important thing here. The other option is instead of the Leos, because we have such good removal with the Kuroses already, we could look for something else, but I think having the Leos is going to be a good option. We have the 2 Aramakis, Gravity Blades, Kuroses. We have a good enough like spot removal, and the Leos synergize with the Scarlets that we're already running. So let's see if we can find us a Lucci matchup. Oh, I didn't hit save because I'm an idiot. Oh, man, guys. Sorry about that. You're going to have to watch me do that all over again real quick. Oh, no, and I hit the wrong button. It's been a long day, guys. Just bear with me. Gravity. 1, 2, 3. Aramaki. 1, 2. Gecko. Which, I mean, we could arguably just stay at 3 Geckos if we really wanted to. Actually, I'll take the opportunity to say it. 3 Geckos. We'll go up on the Leos here. Boop, 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 boop. 1, 2. And then we'll add in 1 Gyatts just for good measure, because it's just because. Yes, he's not a character that can be brought back, but he's a searchable 2K that we can find pretty reliably and really easily. And if he gets milled, he gets milled. He's not really that important. It's just an additional 2K that we can draw, so that's kind of the other option there. Or we could actually just do another Leo if we want. We can just go up to 3 Leos. Actually, I prefer Luffy. Now that I think about it, 3rd Luffy would probably be pretty good, just so that we guarantee get it. So this is kind of harkening a lot back to an OP02 list that I was running, or EBO2 list, or EBO1, whatever it is. EBO1, OP07, somewhere in that realm. We were running this list around there. And so this is actually very similar to that list, honestly. The biggest difference is I think back then I didn't run Ice Ages. But otherwise, this is roughly the same list. We're kind of going back to it. And I think that this might actually be a pretty solid list for dealing with Lucci. So let's see if we can refresh the lobbies and find us a Lucci real quick. There's a Smoker. It's not quite the same. Come on, Lucci or Lucci or Luffy. Lucci or Luffy. There's Lucci. And he FF'd. Cool. The greatest fun of finding a Lucci. And just having them like, I don't want to practice that meta. We're not going to Benos. We'll go to Guy. Let's go second. We keep this. Though we don't have Stage and we don't have Kyros, we have a Searcher. We're going second. And we have our Rebecca. And we just found our Kyros. Cool. Let's activate. We'll take a Rebecca. We'll deploy. Ooh. I think we take the Leo here in turn. Because worst case scenario here, what we can do if he drops a Searcher this turn is that he's not. He's just going face. We don't want to use too many cards here, so we'll just take it. That's fine by me. All right, we'll just play a Rebecca. We'll grab back the Luffy. We'll deploy the Kyros. Choose no target and turn. Ooh, 2 Gravity Blades gone. That's a little rough. If we could draw one of these Gravity Blades, we have Ice Age in hand, so that'd be really nice. Ooh, my buddy's messaging me on Discord. What's up? On my way home if you want to play League in a bit. Cool. We're going to play League of Legends after this, guys. Woohoo. Anyhow. Alright, coming at me for 6. No blocker. We'll give you a 2K. He did not activate targeting anyone, so he's just going to be doing that. In that case, we're going to deploy. We're not going to have to rest anything to keep him alive. He's -4. KO. Play our Leo. Use guard action. KO. We're milling here like crazy. Take a 2K. We lose a Gecko. Attack 5. He's going to take it, but we're in a very good position. He could wipe both of these guys off, but then we still keep our blocker. If we were on 7 Dawn there, the play that we could do is going to be Ice Age into this, but we want to kind of hold Ice Ages. Ooh, we got him to use a counter. That's pretty good for us, actually. We're okay with that. What are you reducing? Reducing him. All right. no block. We'll give you a 1K. We have another Orlumbus. So he's just going to jack, get rid of the Orlumbus. That's cool by me. So what do we have that we can... Do we have a way of comboing this properly? That's the question. Not really. He is... Well, actually, we just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how many? Six, that's 11. Yeah, we just swing 11 here, right? Cool, we got his jack. I'm okay with this. Deploy her so that we can activate here. Take this, so if he plays another one, we actually have the combo to deal with it. We're okay with this. If he wants to develop another jack, that's fine by me. Cool. Gecko, cool. An Uta, you say? Interesting. What was this option? Okay, we would love to find a Coliseum here. We're gonna deploy. Damn, if we had one more Dawn. But I could do the math, so we wouldn't have it. In turn, it's an interesting tech. This is a little bit different than a Lucci I've seen, but I have seen that people have been using this so that leaders can't kill it. Not particularly good into Rebecca, FYI, if you didn't know that. He's probably going to kill Orlumbus this turn. That's okay, because we already have another one in hand ready to go, plus a Leo. Okay. I think we're going to actually take this just because we want a card. Hey, we got a Gecko. So we can Gecko combo this turn. That's pretty good for us. Let's see, we have 3, so we do a swing, Oh. No, you could have him. That's fine by me. I would prefer to get the extra swing, but I don't really want to waste any counter to keep him alive. Cool. Ooh, that's really good for us, too. Okay, we're at a good spot here. We have 2 Kiroses, 2 Rebeccas, a Gecko. Like, to get rid of the Gecko, he's going to have to Ice Age, use his Jack. We could just swing our Kiros into the Jack. If we get our Luffy out, we could do that. Yep, there's that. He's utilizing that. That's fine by me. So he's 6 cards in hand. Hasn't taken damage yet. It's kind of going a long, grindy matchup, so there's going to be a bit of a matchup. I'm going to let my buddy know that I'm recording this video for him. Alright, let's see. It's going 7 at face, huh? We'll just block with the reduced Rebecca, that's fine. I don't need 2 Rebeccas on board right now. What's he got? Another Uta. Okay. Gonna play Lucci. Yep. That's fine by me. Needs a 2K and a 1K to keep it alive. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. Enter. He has little to nothing that he can do here. He's getting down to no cards. He has to clear this Luffy this turn. I have plenty of cards in hand. It's actually what's significantly better for us than I anticipated this to. So this might be the build that I need to kind of move to over the Kuzumaki build, just because of the fact that this is the Gecko gives us so much control versus the Lucci matchup here. Okay, so he's doing 11 into him, so I need 2 2Ks, which I don't have. Be a lot of cards. It's not really worth keeping him alive right now. We already got cards put back, so that's perfectly fine. No block. I'll give you a Rebecca Searcher. That's fine by me. Okay, you have a Sabo. That's fine. Okay. And then 6 cards. Activate leader. Ignore Lumbus. 7. Let's play one of you. We don't really need a second Sabo. We don't need one of these 2Ks. He wants a card, so he'll take it. End turn. All right, we are efficiently starving him out. We are officially making this a hell of a game for him. Okay, so he's just swinging 6. I'll give you the recurable 2K. That's fine by me. What you got? Swinging 7. Block. Give you this 2K because I don't need it. It's a Gecko, sure thing. Wow, that's craziness. So, okay, so we just attack here. Gecko, we can put a Scarlet back, Ice Age, Gravity Blade. One of you, Gravity Blade. Do we go here? I think we do. Okay. He needs to clear cards off board. He doesn't know what's in my hand. Okay, he gets a draw. He's going to -3 the Luffy. Yep, -3 the Luffy again. Wow, okay. He's down to 10 cards here. What is going on? It's so rough for him, man. He doesn't want to be doing that. That's fine. You get the Sabo, buddy. No block, resolve, no trigger. So we can do this, we could do this. I think we should do this. But it doesn't... Oh, yeah, it does get rid of the Gecko. So we do this. Tap stage. Ice Age. Rebecca. Grab back a Luffy. Deploy a Leo. Use card action. KO here. Activate. Take a Luffy. Probably should have done that first, but math. We don't need to attack this turn. We have him on the ropes here. He doesn't know I have 3 bricks in hand. He knows I have 2, but he doesn't know I have 3. He's trying to cycle through whatever cards he has left. All of his Lucci... Are all his Luccis in trash? They're all there. So are 3 Rebeccas. We'll protect him because we have 2 Luffys, so we're okay here. We'll say no. Sure. What you got for 6? El Meppo. Rebecca to get back the Spandine. Spandine, I assume. Oh, he did a Brook. What the hell? Why is he doing that? Okay, so 5 at Brook. Five at Who's Who. I think we Gecko here, honestly. We can remove you. Gets us a blocker. Nah, we are Amaki, because that's a bigger blocker. Man, this came down to being really close, but me getting stuck on so many bricks now is actually problematic. Like, we're legitimately in a problem here. Just because he actually went so wide that last turn. And look, there's my last stage that I couldn't find this whole damn time. Yep. And then he wins. Nothing but bricks. Oh, we ran into bricks. All right, getting rid of that one Sabo earlier could probably lost us that. It was a really close match, and we probably should have been able to win that, but I wasn't getting the clears that I needed to do properly here. I wasn't really thinking about how I needed to clear stuff. Oh, he only had 1k counter. Okay, that's interesting to know. Yeah, I guess it's still just, you know, it's a rough matchup either way. There's probably some misplays I made in there that I just didn't realize at the time, and I got a little too ahead of myself there, so I probably could have made some better plays. Or we could have gone for life at some point there, a little bit more, opposed to just trying to clear board. Kind of force him to have to clear board to go for face, but I don't think we were really in a position at most of that point to try to go for it. But it's significantly closer than our other lists. So this list might be the better list for... I mean, this is definitely the better list for trying to deal with Lucci's. In terms of if this is a better generalized list, I'd have to test it more. Honestly, I definitely enjoyed that a bit more in terms of being able to handle his stuff. I don't know if I would move directly to this, though this is something that is definitely now on my radar as a list that we'd consider. We were able to mill through the deck really fast. We were able to find the cards we needed. We were able to put cards back and be able to get to our geckos. It does take a little while to play it. And it is closer to more of like the Asian style of play in terms of, you know, the deck list. And this is very consistent to my EBO1 list, like I said. So might be the route that we go back to just because of dealing with them, but we'd have to test it into their matchups just to know if it's good into those. But in terms of if your meta is mainly Lucci's, I think this list gives you a much better chance of being able to handle Lucci specifically. Hopefully that is enough for you guys to understand and to see. And until next time, guys, I hope you until next time, I hope you all have... Oh, wait, I forgot to plug the Discord again. 30 minutes deep. All right, hopefully somebody's watching. Remember, we have a Discord down in the description there. And until next time, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, guys.